You're listening to School Counseling Simplified, a podcast with easy-to-implement strategies for busy school counselors. Here's your host, Rachel Davis from Bright Futures Counseling.
Do you feel like you're running out of ideas to keep students engaged in classroom lessons? Believe me, I know the feeling. Over the years, I've tried out different games and activities, and I now know which ones are always a hit with the kiddos. I've created a free cheat sheet for you with 15 strategies to engage your students during class lessons. Get it now for free at stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/engage. Hey there! Thanks for listening to another episode of School Counseling Simplified. So this month, I want to talk to you all about class counseling lessons. So today, I want to talk to you about a question I get asked all of the time, which is, I'm supposed to do how many classroom counseling lessons? Believe me, it may seem overwhelming, but I have some simple solutions with you. And the first step is to start with scheduling. So perhaps you did your scheduling a little bit. I want to share with you some strategies you can use right now to make it way easier. It will save you time and be more efficient and more effective. And ultimately, it's the only way to ensure that you're seeing all the students, which is our role as the school counselor, right? Okay, so I have a few tips for you. First up, find out if you're in the specials rotation and the frequency of your class lessons. So this is super important. First, figure out, will you be going in classes once a month, once a week, twice a month? What's the expectation? It may be different at every school. Now, at my school, it was always up to me, and I always chose to go in once a month to teach a different topic every month. This worked well. I can't even imagine going in more often than that because I was going to every classroom. So I think if you get to pick once a month is ideal for about 30-minute sessions. Now, if you're in the specials rotation, you likely don't get to pick your schedule, right? Like they'll schedule it for you and say, oh, you're coming in these days. So that has its pros and cons, pro being that you don't have to mess with the scheduling. So first steps first, find out the frequency. Okay, next up, use 3 tech tools to make your scheduling life way easier. So the first one I want to talk about is Google Sheets. Now, I love Google Sheets, free, totally easy to use. What you can do is set up a teacher sign-up sheet. So you're going to have the teachers sign up for class lessons with you. So what this looks like is on the left-hand side, you'll list your availability. So these are your available times that you're going to teach class lessons. Now think about it and personalize it to fit your needs. Do you teach better in the morning or do you teach better in the afternoon? Do you only want to do lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Think about your schedule and what you want it to look like. Because remember, you're also going to have small groups and individual sessions as well. You might already have some small groups and individual sessions queued up for this semester, so it's important to figure out your availability and make it clear. On the bottom of the sheet, you can have tabs with different months and, if possible, list the topic that you'll be teaching. So for example, January, goal setting; February, friendship; March, self-control. And then the teachers are going to go in and they're going to click each month and then sign up for a time. So they're going to say, okay, I want 2 o'clock on Tuesday in January, but in February I want 10 a.m. on Monday. Whatever. You can then see the times they signed up for, and this is where the Google Calendar comes in. Then you're going to send them a calendar invite for those times with reminders so they can see exactly when you'll be coming to their class and get a reminder, because they may sign up and then forget about it, especially if you're having them sign up for multiple months in advance, which is totally what I encourage, because if not, you're going to have to tweak your schedule each month as your availability changes based on those groups and individual sessions. So I find it way easier if you schedule as many class lessons in advance as possible. So you can ask the teachers to go in and pick their ideal time for each month. Or maybe they just have a general ideal day and time and they say, I want Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Then you can go in and schedule for them all the Wednesdays at 11 a.m. and send them that Google Calendar invite. Now remember, the calendar invite's super important because you can set those reminders so they never miss your lesson. I hate it when I walk in and the teacher's like, oh shoot, the counselor's here today. We forgot, guys, everybody clean up real fast. That's definitely not the way we want to go. And it's also annoying when you're getting stopped in the hallway or in the lounge or in the office and they're saying, hey, when are you coming to my class? When are you coming to my class again? And you likely don't know this on the top of your head because you have so many teachers to think about and so many students to think about. So this covers that for you. Now, another tool I love to use is called Calendly. So Calendly is a scheduler that you can use. It's kind of like an appointment system. It's a free app or free website that you make an account, and then teachers can book a time with you. Now, same thing, just like Google Sheets, you're going to fill in your availability, and then the teachers, when they get the link, they'll go check it out, and they'll, select the times and sign up for a time they want with you. Now, the beautiful thing about Calendly is that it directly connects with your Google Calendar. So it'll send them an invite and you an invite right there automatically, so you don't have to manually do anything. I prefer Calendly, but pick the method that works best for you. I've definitely used both, Google Sheets and Calendly. And then, like I said, both pair well with that Google Calendar. Another thing you can do for scheduling is to color code your calendar and book those reoccurring sessions. So, like I said before, booking reoccurring sessions is great. You can just, once you find out a teacher's ideal day and time, you're going to go in and say, okay, Miss Smith wants Wednesdays at 10 a.m., so you create an event for her every first Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m., boom. Now, you do want to be mindful of school holidays or breaks. I really recommend you have your school calendar out right beside you as you're doing this, because you may need to edit a few. Some months it might be the second Wednesday instead of the first Wednesday. But again, by sending those reoccurring sessions out in advance and it gets on the teacher's calendar, this is going to make it easier for everyone all around. And then when it comes to color coding your calendar, like I said earlier, you're going to have those individual and group sessions as well. So I love to color coordinate everything. So all my class lessons are in one color, my groups are in one color, and then my individuals are in one color. So at a glance, I can see, this week I have this many lessons, or today I have this many lessons. Then you can look closer and see who the lesson's with, what time it is, the topic, and so on. But this is just a nice way to, at a glance, take a peek at your calendar and figure out what you can expect for that day or that week. And my last scheduling tip I have for you is to fill in your groups and individual sessions afterwards. So this is something I totally recommend at the beginning of the school year, is that before you schedule anything else, you go through and you schedule all of your class lessons, and then you kind of fill in the gaps with your groups and then next with your individual sessions. The reason I like to do it in this order is because, for one, it's the order of the tiers, so it kind of makes sense. But the class lessons are affecting a lot of people, right? There's a lot of moving parts. You're trying to schedule lessons with every single teacher. The groups you're trying to schedule with maybe 4 or 5 teachers. And then the individual, you're only working with one teacher's schedule to schedule those sessions. So it just makes sense that the more people are affected, you need to do that one first and prioritize it. And I encourage you to include buffers. So you don't want to be late for a class lesson because your group ran over. Or you don't want to be, late for a class lesson because your individual student really needs to stay and chat about something. On the same token, you don't want to, say, okay, I love this conversation we're having, but you got to go. I got a class to teach. That's not good either. So fill in some buffer periods around your groups and around your individual sessions and around your class lessons to ensure that you're prepared, on time, and that you have a little breather in between everything. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. I hope you now feel more prepared and confident to teach all of the class lessons you need to on your counseling caseload. I know it can feel overwhelming at first and you're thinking, I'm supposed to teach how many class lessons? That's way too many. But when you schedule it out, you can make it all work, and I promise you have time for it. You just have to be organized and prepared. Now, once you schedule your class lessons, that's the first step. Then you need to figure out how you're going to make your classroom lessons fun and engaging for students. So I've got you covered with a freebie. It's a free cheat sheet with 15 strategies to engage your students during class lessons. Head to the link in the show notes or get it now for free at stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/engage. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to School Counseling Simplified. You can find the links from today's episode in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with Rachel, she's on Instagram and Teachers Pay Teachers at Bright Futures Counseling. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes of School Counseling Simplified. Talk to you next week.